Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Authenticity, or Coffee if you're me, with Jera. If you're new to this stream, this is a daily stream where we talk about authenticity skills and other ideas around how to be authentic in our modern society. I do this on basically a daily basis. Occasionally I miss a day, but most of the time it's daily and in the mornings. Welcome. Today I'd really love to talk about something that seems to keep popping up in my life and in my relationships with other people, my conversations. It seems like a lot of people I know are having this come up as a theme. And that is this amazing quality, it's really phenomenal and also a double-edged sword, of creating story. You know, humans, I feel like this is one of our specific qualities as a species, is that we're really, really good at creating context for our experience. And typically that context means that we create some kind of story about everything. Everything we see, everything we are. You know, we're very attached to these stories. And it makes sense. It's a way that we really feel secure in the world, by understanding how everything fits around us. I think that the problem with story arises when we finally realize that our story isn't the only one. And actually there's 6.5 billion stories on Earth right now, and none of them are going to be exactly the same. And so when we have like that real attachment to story, we tend to, even with the best intentions, we tend to put that story on other people. We tend to put our ideas of right and wrong and what means what on others. And as we do this, as we put it on others, we also put it on ourselves. You know, any expectation we have of other people is just a blown up expectation that we have of ourselves, and some sort of insecurity. And so when we get really married to a story about something, and somebody comes along and says, I have a different story and it might be just as viable, I think our knee-jerk reaction in our society is to disagree and to argue. No, my story's right, because if your story's right and you think it's right and I'm so married to thinking it's right, then one of us has to be wrong, and it can't be me, because then I won't be safe. And this is just such a sad thing to think about for me. You know, I think story makes sense in certain contexts. It enriches our lives, right? But I also think that it holds us back from so much of what the potential of right now means. You know, there's so many different avenues we can take, so many different decisions we can make that help this magic inside us be the strongest it can be. And when I work with clients, or when I talk with friends, or, you know, even plumbing the depths of my own self, I find that story is one of those things that really gets in the way. It's the thing that probably causes the most in us, right? Like, think about the last time you were reactive with somebody, or felt reactive to something. I bet at the root of that reactivity was a story. It's like somebody says something awful about you. Well, it's like there's so many attachments to the story in that. I'm attached to feeling good, like a good person, and not being the awful thing that was said about me. I'm also attached to other people knowing that and thinking that about me. And I'm attached to a story about, does what somebody else say, what they say, and their idea about story somehow have relevance to my story and my experience. And in my experience of the world, it really doesn't. It's like, okay, I hate to keep quoting him, but Johnny Lake did Power and Privilege at this symposium I was in during the summer. And, you know, that's something that he stressed, was that, and I've talked about this before, that to hand privilege to someone who doesn't have it, to the privileged, feels like they're losing something, right? Feels like that security of being on top and knowing where you are and knowing that crimes won't be perpetrated against you because you are above. And if you level the playing field, then maybe perhaps somebody else will use their privilege against you, or their privilege might go higher and then you lose something. And in reality, that's not true at all. The great equality between all of us will lead to peace. The equality of, or the equanimity of seeing each other and having understanding and having compassion, that is the key. But this competitive sort of toxic cycle we're in keeps us locked in this idea of handing our privilege down is going to somehow, we're going to lose something. And I think that's the same thing with story. Hey Diego. I think that's the same thing with story. I think that we think if we let go of our story, that somehow like the whole world will come to pieces, or that somehow we're giving a piece of our power away. And I see the like immense vulnerability that it would take to like loosen the grip on not just being like a floating mass of cells through the universe. I totally get it. And I wonder if there's a freedom in being a floating mass of cells in the universe. Being so disengaged to context that you can like really experience what's happening. And I think the frequency of that, the frequency of now, the frequency of what's happening right now, all around us, I think that there is a link between that and like the divine piece of myself. I think that they're somehow related, somehow sing the same tune. And so the more I can be in relationship with myself in the now and not be chained to some idea of story, the freer I can be to have that resonance get stronger and stronger. And I know from my experience that being in resonance with the universe that's when I feel the best. That's when I feel like the most amazing and the most free and the most clear and the most in my own integrity, is when I'm feeling present with myself now, and when I'm allowed to have that deep resonant connection with the life energy all around me. So anyway, I think that this planet would be so much more at peace if we could let go of our stories just a little bit and move to a place where we could accept that maybe we do create our own realities and everybody's stories are okay being what they are, and we don't have to pull and tug on each other. We can just celebrate ourselves and each other for the nowness and the context, and hold them with, a sense of sacredness, but also a sense of levity, because I think we're here to have fun being humans, figuring out what it means and doing the work and playing the play. So maybe we let go of the stories a little bit and let go of expecting each other to let go to switch sides. Might bring more peace and more ability to hear ourselves, which is key to authenticity, as we know. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel blessed to be here with you as always. Blessed for my journey and where I'm going. I feel strongly in resonance with the universe, and I'm loving that. And yeah, if you'd like to join me in person on this Wednesday evening at 6 p.m., we'll be doing a nonviolent communication discussion group at East Blair Housing Co-op. That's at 6 p.m. A suggested donation of $5 for my time would be lovely. And we had our last one a couple weeks ago. It went really well. We also did a poly discussion group last Wednesday. It went really well. So I'm really looking forward to creating a community of authentic expression and compassion with each other. And really excited for what that means for our society and our earth. So I'm so glad you joined me, whether you're joining me live or David. Hi, David. Whether you're joining me live or you join me later on YouTube or Facebook. So thank you so much for being here, and I would love to hear your ideas on these topics about story and authenticity and all of that. Yeah, thank you so much, and until tomorrow, stay authentic, everybody.